it was, oh, that won't happen to me. That could never.
Tonight, a local teen who nearly died last fall due to a lung collapse from vaping is telling her story to save others. Addie Hunter is a senior at Copan High School.
In the last couple of years, she said she became addicted to the nicotine as she had been vaping since middle school.
Wow.
I went to Copan to talk with Addie and her parents, and I also looked into statistics about a trend that is easy to hide, but is also seriously hurting our youth. If you walk into Copan High School's basketball gym, you will see this poster of 17-year-old Addie Hunter on the wall, and there's a good chance she may be there shooting some hoops. By the looks of her now, it's hard to believe this was her just 4 months ago. Addie says she used to vape, and according to her, doctors say the habit caused blisters to form on her lungs, and the left one collapsed, nearly killing her. It was October 14th, 2023.
I remember sitting on the couch, and I texted my mom, and I was like, Mom, I can't breathe.
Addie has severe asthma, so they've had trips to the hospital before. But Scott and Andrea Hunter sensed this time was different. In fact, they were headed to Tulsa, but knew they couldn't make it and stopped at Bailey Medical Center in Owasso.
She couldn't breathe anymore at all, and she was just trying to open the door. I think in her mind, if I get outside, there's going to be fresh air, I can breathe. And so she was clawing and trying to get out. And she said, Mom, I can't feel my legs, I can't see.
Everything went into slow motion. It got everything's pitch went way down, and it just everything went black, and I passed out. And then I remember passing out in my dad's arms because I was leaned up against the door and he opened it.
It frightens you because you have no idea what's going on, and she has never been this way before.
Her oxygen in her blood was 50%. And she was about a minute and a half from death at that point.
What'd they do for her at that moment?
They immediately put oxygen on her.
Yeah, it was oxygen. They did a lot of immediate steroids and stuff like that to open up the airways.
Then, while transferring her to St. Francis Children's Hospital, another episode. They got her stabilized again, and then a third. That's when doctors put her in a paralytic coma. 3 hours later, Andrea was allowed to see Addie.
And so, walking in that moment was the hardest moment of my life because she couldn't communicate, she couldn't talk, she was intubated, she was paralyzed, she was just there but not there. And that broke me, that broke my heart.
You just kind of lay there, you don't care about anything, you don't think about anything, and you're just kind of there.
On day 3,
they told us we've done everything we can. It's just nothing's helping, and kind of preparing us, I think, for her to die.
But the Hunters say they knew God was bigger and that Addie had a testimony to share.
We stood firm on holy ground the entire time, had thousands of people praying for us and her.
That was also the day Andrea found a vape in Addie's bag.
We gave it to them immediately, and they kind of changed course at that point. They're like, oh, okay, we've seen this before, this makes sense.
Andrea explained to me what the vape was doing to Addie.
Went down into her lungs, it turned back into vegetable oil and vitamin E oil and set on her lungs, and then it heated up with the thermal energy and created blisters on her lungs.
Causing one to collapse. According to the Campaign for Tobacco-Free Kids, 1 in 10 high schoolers across the country reported using e-cigarettes in 2023. In Oklahoma, that number was double, at close to 22%. Like Addie, many of them are addicted.
I would try to quit a lot. So I remember being at work or something and setting a 15-minute timer and being like, okay, now I need it. So how long can I go without it? And then I would just set 15-minute timers over and over again. And I genuinely think the longest I went without it was 2 hours.
And the trend is growing among middle schoolers, too, especially with the marketing of flavored vape. The CDC says in the U.S. in 2023, 1 out of every 22 middle schoolers, so close to 5%, used vapes. Addie says she's not surprised. That's when she started.
You're like a sponge when you're a middle schooler. You literally just suck up literally anything that you're told to do, that you think would look cool on you.
And with some vapes being the size of a flash drive, she says they're easy to hide. Addie and her parents hope her story will reach others. 12 days after going into the coma, doctors were able to bring Addie out of it.
For her to open those eyes and look around, that was the best moment of our lives.
20 days later, she was released from the hospital, and after about a month and a half of relearning how to move,
They just kind of sidestep.
You have to learn how to talk again. I had to relearn how to move my hands and motor skills. I couldn't move my fingers.
As if one miracle wasn't enough, Addie Hunter stepped back onto the court to finish out her high school basketball career. What's it like stepping foot on the court, knowing everything that you've gone through?
I felt normal because for so long I didn't feel normal. I'm never gonna be back to who I was. I will never amount to her. But in all honesty, I came back better than I was before.
What's your message for other parents out there?
Talk to your kids more about it. I mean, we even talk to them about it, but keep talking to them.
And check on anxiety, and I know she was, being in high school is hard, especially today. So check on their anxiety levels and depression, and I think she was dealing with a lot of anxiety. We had no idea. And she was turning towards the vape, thinking it was helping her.
Addie, what is your advice for other teens?
It's not worth it, really. It's just, don't skip out on your life.
Wow. Well, the happy, she recovered and so great. And she is figuring out where she'd like to go to college. She said she would like to walk on a basketball team somewhere, which I think she can do. She's pretty good.
Yeah, I saw the three-pointers and the highlights. I'm so glad she's doing well. And I'm so glad she shared this with you because my daughter's a high schooler and she says vaping is just rampant. Her friends talk about it too. It often happens in school bathrooms. School officials, they can't always keep up, but I mean, it's so important that she thought nothing's going to happen to me. And it did.
And there she was. Scary. Yeah, definitely a testimony. And talk to your kids. Show this story to them. I compiled a full list of resources about teen vaping, including how to talk to your kids and what to look for as signs they may be vaping, how to help them quit if they are. You can find all of that on fox23.com. Just type teen vaping in the search bar and click on this story.